Alright, so in this video I'm going to be going through the 1.1 to 1.3 quiz review. This first question wants me to identify the information for the function of the graph. So I want to give my domain. Remember, domain is x values. So all of my possible x values for this graph. It goes left forever and right forever. So I'm going to have parentheses negative infinity to positive infinity. Infinities always get parentheses when I write this out. Okay. Range is the same idea, except this is going to be my y values. So on this one, I'm looking for my lowest y value. Each of these are counting by tens, so this is probably negative 25. That is my absolute lowest point. Because it is part of the graph, it gets the square bracket, and then it goes up forever. So it gets infinity on the right side. X-intercepts is where it crosses the x-axis. So that is right here. These ones on the x-axis are counting by 2, so that is at 5, 0. And this one is at negative 5, 0. Y-intercepts are the same idea, except where it crosses the y-axis. That we decided was negative 25, so that is going to be 0, negative 25. I'm looking for the interval where it is positive. So that is looking at my y values. So those two pieces I just highlighted, I always read left to right. So I start at negative infinity. I stop at negative 5. Then I start up again at 5 and go to positive infinity. For my negative interval is that part right there because my y values are negative. So that I just highlighted in yellow. So this starts at negative 5 and ends at 5. My next one wants me to do my increasing interval. That is where it's got a positive slope. So I've already highlighted, so that's going to be from here to here. That goes up 65. Oh wait, I'm not looking for my actual slope. I don't know why I was doing that. I was just showing you the section where it's got a positive slope. So that starts at, I always do my x values for intervals, 0, and then it goes right forever. Then where my interval is decreasing, this is where I'm looking for a negative slope. So that is from here to here. That starts at negative infinity and ends at 0. My next one wants me to find the average rate of change at over negative 5, 0. These are x values. So negative 5, it's at 0. And at 0, it is at negative 25. So when it asks me average rate of change over an interval, those two numbers are both x values, and then I use this graph to find those y values. Then I want to use the slope formula to find my average rate of change. So I'm going to do negative 25 minus 0 over 0 minus negative 5. That gets me negative 25 on the top, 5 on the bottom. This is negative 5 for my average rate of change. My next question says he is trying to fill a container with 50 cubic feet with water at 0.05 cubic feet per minute. Interpret the domain. So you can start the container and there will be nothing in it. So that's going to be 0. And then I need to figure out how long until the container is filled. So I'm going to do 50 divided by 0.5. I took how much he had and divided by my rate. So 50 divided by 0.5 gets me 100. So it will take him 100 minutes, and he can go all the way up to 100 because then it'll be filled. So that is my domain, 0 to 100 minutes. Okay, number 3 wants me to graph the function using this parent function shown. So this +4 means it's going to go up 4. So all of my points are going to go up 4. I'm just going to move 3 of them. I was looking at the number 2. Okay. This one is asking how it affects domain and range. So my domain, it's still going left and right forever, stays the same. And my range is shifted up 4. Okay. Numbers 5 and 8 are asking me what transformations are applied to get this function. So on this first one, I have a number on the outside. This is going to be a vertical, either stretch or compression. It is a stretch because it's a whole number. And then this number 2 on the inside moves it left or right, opposite the sign. It is going left 2, because positive is normally right. Over here on number 5, I have a negative on the outside. That is a reflection across the x-axis. This -5 means I'm going right 5. And this +1 is up and down, same as the sign, so up 1. Number 6 wants me to write a new function if it is across the y-axis. So I'm just going to use the letter G for my new function. That is going to take y-axis is just going to take the x and multiply it by a negative. Okay. I think we're assuming we're still using our original function for each of these pieces. So on B, I am reflecting it across the x-axis. That is the one I'm going to take and multiply everything by a negative. So that's going to be negative absolute value x plus 4, and then that negative also carries to the 6. My last one is if the function is stretched by a factor of 2. So same thing, I'm going to have a 2 out front and distribute it to that. Let's do J of x. Okay, so I'm going to have a 2 absolute value, x plus 4. I do not want to distribute in, I want to leave it out there. And then I'm also going to take that 2 and distribute to the 6 to get 12. Okay. This one wants me to find the domain and range of this graph. I'm going left forever. I stop at, that is 7. So negative infinity to 7. This gets a parenthesis because it has an open, actually, before I even get there, let me go grab my whiteout. I'll be back. Okay, it actually has a hole in the function right here at -2. So it's going to go from negative infinity to -2. And I want to use the parenthesis because it can include -2. And then it goes between -2 to 7. Okay. My range is my possible y values. It's in between. This one is 3. And even though there's a hole right here, I still have this whole line that is a part of the graph. That's part of it. So it can include that 3. And then it goes all the way up to here, which is my 10. Same thing, because I have that line, it can include that. Number 8 wants me to graph my piecewise defined functions. So between -4 and -2, it includes those 2 points. And I have a y value of 2. So I'm going to use closed circles, and then I want to draw a line between them. Okay, my next one is x plus 2. So what I can do is I am going to plug in. I'm going to do this piece in this color. I am going to do -2 and 3. Oops, it should be x and f of x. So when I plug in -2, -2 plus 2 gets me 0. 3 plus 2 gets me 5. So I want to go plot those points. There are no lines under these, so they're going to get open circles. -2, 0. 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I want to connect my points. Then I have my final piece of the graph, which is this. I'm going to plug in my points again. I'm doing 3 and 5. 3 is what I'm plugging in first. -3 times 3 is -9, plus 12 is 3. Then I'm going to plug in 5. -3 times 5 is -15. -15 plus 12 is -3. So I'm going to go plot those points. I have 3, 3, which gets a closed circle. And then I have 5, -3, which also gets a closed circle. And then I want to go ahead and connect my points. Now I need to answer my domain and range. My domain is all of my possible x values. So I have something on this graph everywhere from -4 to 5. And those are closed circles. So my domain has -4 with the square bracket to 5 with the square bracket. Range is my possible y values. So my lowest point is this -3. That's got a closed circle, so it gets a square bracket. And my highest point is this 5, but that has an open circle, so that gets a parentheses. Okay, number 9 wants me to write a rule that defines this piecewise graph. So I'm going to have f of x equals. This first part is just, these lines are counting by 2, so this is just the 6, it's just straight across line. And this is true for all of my x values that are less than 0. Less than because it keeps going left forever. 0, because that's where it is on the y-axis. No line underneath because the circle is open. Then if I look over here, I have this line. It is going, so it starts here, and then each of these lines are counting by 2, so it's going up 4. And then the x-axis is counting by 1. So my slope here is actually 4. And then I have my x. My y-intercept is where it's crossing the y-axis. This is at -6. And this is between 0 and 4. So I'm going to have 0 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 4. I have these lines underneath because those circles are closed. Okay, number 10 wants me to write this function as a piecewise defined function. My first step is to take the inside part and set that equal to 0. So I have 2x minus 8 equals 0. I leave all of the signs inside the same. Then I want to add 8 to both sides. I have 2x equals 8. I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 2. I get x equals 4. So I have 4, 0 is going to be my point where my graph changes. What this means is my graph looks like this. And at 4, it goes from having a negative slope to a positive slope. So now I want to pick a point less than 4. I am going to do x equals 0 to make my numbers easier on me. I'm going to plug in 0. So I'm going to have the absolute value of 2 times 0. 2 times 0 is 0, minus 8 is 8. So I have the point 0, 8. I want to go ahead and find my slope. I'm going to use this as x1, y1, and this one is going to be x2, y2. If I forgot, my slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to plug that in. I'm going to have 8 minus 0 over 0 minus 4, which gets me 8 over negative 4, a slope of negative 2. Then I want to go ahead and plug in, this is my m. I'm going to plug in m, x, and y to find my b value. So I'm going to have 8 equals negative 2 times 0 plus b, which is going to give me 8 equals 0 plus b. b equals 8. So I'll write this over here. My first part of the equation is going to be, what was my slope? Negative 2x plus 8, and this was for values less than 4. So x less than 4. Then I'm going to go do the same thing for my x greater than or equal to 4. I'm going to pick 5. So same deal. I'm plugging in 5. 2 times 5 minus 8, which is 10 minus 8 gives me 2. My point is 5, 2. So I'm going to use this instead for my x2, y2. That's going to give me 2 minus 0. My x1, y1 is still the same. Then I have 5 minus 4. Oh yeah. That gives me 2 over 1, which is 2. So then I want to plug in to find my b value. I'm going to have 2 equals 2 times 5 plus b. 2 times 5 is 10. If I subtract 10 on both sides, I get negative 8 equals my b. So then this is going to be positive 2x minus 8, and this is for x greater than or equal to 4.